kind of about the similar thoughts around... Actually, I don't remember.
Welcome to Nourish by Spinneys, where we promise to inspire you to eat well and live well. I'm Tiffany Eslick.
And I'm Devina Divecha. Today, we're wrapping up ahead of our summer break. So, Tiff, how has the last year gone?
I was just saying, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
I really hope that I can remember everyone who we interviewed because I just put it into I've done that part of my brain and it could have been like someone from 2022, So let's try this wrap up.
So some of the highlights for us has been the fact, I think, that in a way, I think we predicted like who would get 3 Michelin stars this year because you interviewed both of them for the show.
Yeah, true, actually. Yeah.
So tell me more about those episodes.
Wow. So we interviewed Chef Himanshu Saini, which was, I think we sat down and we could have carried on talking for more than, the time. Usually I give about an hour for our chats.
Yeah.
But I think we spoke for almost, I don't know, Chirag, 2 hours and we could have gone on longer. It was just so fascinating and he speaks with such depth,
and passion.
His passion and his storytelling is wonderful.
I don't believe in a concept of signature dishes because I mentioned that I always believe in the process of evolution. So for me, every dish is not a complete dish. Every dish is not a final dish. It has a scope. Every element, sauce, curry, every vegetable has a scope to become better or taking inspiration from what it is today and then making it better for tomorrow.
I've been fortunate enough to go to Treston's studio many times over the years and to watch how the menus evolved and how he's evolved and his team. And I'm just so immensely proud of him that him and the team have managed to get 3 Michelin stars. And for the first and only Indian restaurant in the world.
Definitely.
I mean, it's a real feat, and one that has to be celebrated.
Yeah, I agree. I have also, like you, loved going to the restaurant over the last how many ever years. And every time it's just so impressive how service standards are perfect. The food is genuinely delicious. And for me, like you say, it's the storytelling as well through every single dish. Really, really enjoy the experience every time I've gone.
And also, I had a chance to interview Chef Bjorn and Chef Torsten from FZN.
Yes.
The other 3-star restaurant.
Yes.
One this year. And I mean, I don't know if you've been to FZN, but the experience is outstanding. I love the environment, the food, every course was exquisite. The way they present their ingredients and the storytelling, again, excellent. What kind of legacy do you guys want to leave behind in Dubai?
It's that, it's fine dining, but it's supposed to be fun for me when you go to restaurants. And that casual elegance. And yes, we're gonna play rock and roll in the dining room.
Yeah, we came here to do something.
Absolutely.
I love what you said about the music. It's like you read my mind because I wanted to ask you, who puts that playlist together? Is it you?
I do, yeah.
Everybody at the dinner was like shazamming everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it gets a lot of comments.
I have a good backup plan if it goes sour. I can become a DJ.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was great chatting to both of them and I'm so proud of them as well. I mean, they're newcomers into the scene here. Obviously Chef Bjorn comes with and Chef Torsten. They have a great repertoire and a fantastic background. But yes, it deserves 3 stars, of course.
Amazing. Speaking of 3, this was also the first time in our history of our show that we had 3 guests on at the same time in multiple episodes.
Yes, well done as well with 3 by Eva because that was the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah.
And then we had the one with the Veg and Vegan Supper Clubs, 3 people.
Yeah.
And I believe there was one with the incubators as well that you did. Yeah,
absolutely. I was just sitting there thinking, did I do 3?
Yes,
or
you
did I make
did.
you do all of this?
No. But I think it's quite fun.
Yeah.
It adds such an element of kind of interactivity between the guests and you just end up having an absolute blast, I think. Everyone just ends up interacting.
They bounce off each other.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like you have to go like, and what about you? And now you, and now you, it's... I really enjoyed it. So, yeah.
We should do them again.
Yeah, we should. Absolutely.
Maybe have 4, Chirag? What do you think? He's shaking his head.
Yeah. And I mean, that 3 by Eva episode was fantastic. I love listening to it. I think I go to 3 by Eva or order on Deliveroo at least once a week.
Okay.
It's just down the road from my house as well. And they're such wonderful people, Eva and her 2 daughters.
Yes.
And I just love that they just kind of do their own thing. What they're doing is so wholesome and genuine.
The lines are so blurred that it took us about 1.5 years to work on these boundaries to understand, where to cross and where to sort of, why are you giggling?
Just FYI, every board meeting starts with, let us separate business from family.
I always say this.
Yeah.
Then we end up fighting. Then I end up shouting at them.
Every dish is fantastic. I mean, have you tried the feta brulee there?
I have not tried the feta brulee.
Oh my gosh, you have to have
Okay.
it. Yeah. But then everything else, like grandma's omelette, mom's breakfast, I can go on and on and on. Yeah. The incubators was fun.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated. I get to sit on the panel of the Spinneys incubator program, and it's always interesting to see what people are pitching, the ideas that are out there. And so to be able to sit down and chat more in depth was great. The variety of product is always so interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's not always kind of one specific thing. I've always noticed through the years that it's different verticals, but also when they launch it, you think, oh yeah, that is a good idea. Why hasn't it been done before?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that was good. And I enjoyed the Supper Clubs episode also because, in my research for that episode and for the article that I wrote, I did actually go to all the supper clubs. And that was my first time ever going to one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd never been to a supper club before that episode and before writing the article. So thank you. And
thank you for going.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was a great experience to really see how it works kind of with these chefs who do everything at home out of a home kitchen, and also to dive into the world of vegan and veg food in a way that maybe I hadn't quite done before. We've had the likes of Tara. We have interviewed the chef in a previous season, and that's amazing to kind of see how you can bring about vegetarian food into such a palatable way. People might be scared about it and not sure what to expect, but yeah, all my experiences were amazing, and they were great on the show. They were just laughing the whole time.
Stupid mushroom. Stupid canned mushrooms. We're not going to call this episode canned mushrooms, okay? It's not happening.
It's like the most clickbait. Beyonce eats canned mushrooms. No, I need to step away from this whole canned mushroom. It's really, I've said it too many times now. I've never had to say it before.
We first covered supper clubs in the magazine, I think 5 years ago. And it's so nice to see the scene evolve, and that there are all these new players, and the ones who we did interview have gone on to do fantastic things, like opening restaurants or doing special collabs with international players. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Which, leads us to, I think, one of my favorite episodes. It's hard to be biased because she's also one of my best friends. But Chef Gabby from Girl and the Goose, she ran her supper club for more than 5 years and opened her restaurant this year.
Yeah.
And
it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and it's so nice to see it packed. Every time I go, it's pumping, and there's like an energy, and her food has really evolved as well. She's scaled up beautifully, and her story is one that's inspirational. I said it to her on the podcast episode, like, I've never met such a determined person, and she had a dream. She's realized that, and this is also just the beginning of an even bigger dream. But yeah, her Mesoamerican food. She's from Nicaragua. I think you learn about different foods when you go there, which is nice, and not in a forced way.
Yeah, just walking into the hotel and walking towards the restaurant. Honestly, the first moment that I saw it, in my head, I thought, surely this was always here. This looks perfect.
Yeah.
And even while I was there, I could see she was on the path that day, and she was going around to all the tables, speaking to them, and like you say, explaining more about the food.
Yeah.
And she really is a gem of a person. So congratulations to her. Honestly, it's really good.
Yeah, you see her face light up, like she's in her element.
Yeah.
And that's so encouraging.
There is this guy that my dad, that Jaime always listen. He's an ex-army military.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you have to hear his voice because Joko speak like this. And that's the podcast that he used to sleep.
Yeah.
And then you hear the guy, you weak woman. And I'm like, Jesucristo, it's 2:00 in the morning. Who is giving that pep talk?
That's terrible.
So I'm going to start that pep talk with you.
Yeah, you're weak. We've had so many wonderful people this year.
Yeah. So I think one of my favorite episodes this season was with Chef JP Anglo at Kuya. I hadn't been when I had gone to interview him, and it had been on my list forever. But I first saw him at speak at What the Food at Al Circal, and after his talk, I actually went up to him and I said, I loved what you had to say. I would love to have you on the podcast. And he was just so friendly and generous, not just with me, but with everyone else in the crowd. They were approaching him and talking to him. A lot of people from the Filipino community. And he's talked about that in the episode, about how important it is to showcase Filipino cuisine and make people understand on one side what it's all about, but also give a taste of home to the community that is here.
And I've gotten these comments from random people just going up to me. I think you were one of them. Just saying, hey, thank you. And I'm like, why? Because we've been coexisting with you guys for the past decades. But we always start with friendship, karaoke, and drinks.
Yeah,
but
sure.
we never reach the food.
Amazing singers, though. Gotta.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, so good.
Yes.
Really
except for me and my wife.
Oh, come on.
We're that 2%.
Who can't sing?
Oh, cannot. That's why I can cook.
Honestly, he was just an inspiring chat, and it was, again, so much fun to record that episode. So yeah, that is definitely one of my favorites this season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to that. And I mean, it blew up.
Yeah, it did.
So many downloads. Went crazy on social media.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So yeah, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a good one. But speaking of blowing up, we actually had our videos do really well this year.
We
because
did.
We launched that this year, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a nerve-wracking thing, knowing that we now can't read sort of a script and have to. But I think we've got into it. And the videos have done really, really well on YouTube. I think we've hit over 1.7 million views.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I think Chirag told me that like 3 times, so I'm pretty sure that's the number. And certain episodes have really done unbelievably well, but we have a consistent following as well, which is nice.
But yeah, we can't get away with, I don't know, not doing our hair. I remember the first time we had to record a video episode, I think we both forgot. And
we were both like, oh no, that's not happening today.
Not today. Not today, Chirag. Another time.
But it's fun. And I think it's being made to think on the spot is actually challenging but good. You know? And I think that's where you actually get the most natural responses.
Yeah. And I think it's great because I feel like apart from what we've done with the show, our interviews, it's a form of evolution, and that's what we've done. So that's cool. But we also had a lot more wellness on this season, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, and also kind of bridging the food and the wellness. I thoroughly enjoyed chatting to Will Goldfarb.
Yes, that was a fun listen.
Wow. And it was just a fun interview. We were at his hotel room at Anantara the Palm because he was out here for a collab. And part of it we did like on a sun lounger.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I saw like you guys like chilling on a sun lounger there.
He, I had first heard him speak at one of the 50 Best Talks.
Oh yeah, me too. We were there together. Yeah.
Good memory.
Yeah.
And I remember being fascinated by what he had to say. Again, someone generous with information, generous with his time. He was like, just Instagram message me and we can chat about anything.
Yeah.
And I liked that direct approach. And so I really went and followed up and read about him, obviously rewatched the Chef's Table episode, and almost became like a real Will Goldfarb groupie. And I'm actually going to go to his place in Bali when I go on holiday in a few weeks with my family. I can't wait. Yeah, a room for dessert in Ubud. But it was such a great episode. And what he has built there, doing a dessert tasting menu, but that's like really low on sugar and using natural ingredients, which he's growing in his property in Bali.
Yeah.
And the sort of whole ecosystem that he's created, where he's planted like a Japanese garden, and he's also helping people. He's got his school, and he's looking into the healing properties of food, and I think that's fascinating. Again, another person who I could have spoken to for hours.
So turmeric for me, like we grow a lot of turmeric. We use turmeric leaves. We drink a lot of turmeric, tamarind, and ginger, pepper, all of these different things which are local, sustainable, either grown or, more importantly, in Balinese tradition, they are ethically foraged. There is no distinction between food and medicine. Something is either good for you or not good for you, as like fundamental to what you put in your body. That's everything we do is built around that.
And I think what I enjoyed about that episode, and also reading about it, is that he is very supportive of the local ecosystem and very supportive of what the people in Bali need and want and what the environment there is all about. And that was just really fascinating to me as well, just to see how he's so careful with that. And it is nice to see.
I loved his ethos comes across, like you can see he's having fun.
Yes.
With what he does.
Yeah.
And there is that thing of like finding your purpose, giving back. He cares, as you say, so much about the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
And but he does it in this like joyful way as well, which was just infectious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you had a few more wellness episodes.
Yes. So I went to Bali. I went back to Bali.
Yeah, you did. I was like,
well. And so I spent time at Como Shambhala Estate, where I had spoken to Kimberly Naya. So she's the director of wellness there. And she came over to Dubai because they were celebrating their 20th anniversary. So I got to sit down and actually do a podcast with her. And that was, the whole thing was fascinating. I find her very interesting to talk to. She's trained in traditional Chinese medicine. She is very interested in women's health as well. So when I was there, I spoke a lot to her about the difference of TCM and Ayurveda.
Okay,
and there's so many similarities. And to experiencing what the estate offers and the programs, and then, getting more time with her about she's broken everything down into her real diet. And so I like her approach to food. And if you're wanting to look at kind of what's affecting you, like, do these detoxes, but not these sort of harsh detoxes where you're left feeling hungry or deprived. Like just, it's an elimination diet and take out these sort of, eggs, alcohol, some random ones as well, obviously gluten, wheat, all that kind of thing. But just take those out, do it twice a year maybe, and see how it's really affecting you.
How it affects you, yeah. Okay.
And I did that, and it really, I saw what does affect me. And again, like her whole approach to women's health is fascinating.
Through Chinese medicine, we have a very different lens through which we look at menopause. Generally, we're looking towards like this underlying, what we call a yin deficiency, which, and more often than not, there's like a kidney yin deficiency, right? That kind of rules reproduction. But this is a time that women should actually be having more energy. It's like an initiation into the second half of your life, right? You've raised the children, your body, you're not having a cycle every month. You should have more energy. And so many women have just bought into this like belief that like, it's like, oh my God, menopause. It's like my life is going to get derailed. And it so many women's life does.
It is scary. And I think I was listening to a podcast with Mel Robbins where so much research and investment goes into, that first part of our lives and like fertility and all of that kind of thing. And nothing is it's growing now.
It's definitely
which is
growing now.
encouraging. But there's so much to discover,
Is this the trip where you were screaming in the forest?
I wasn't screaming.
Oh.
No, I was joking about that. So there are those things where you can go to Bali.
I wasn't sure if you did it or not.
No, my friends would have killed me. So I've seen on social media, people are going and then they're doing like these rituals where it's like a blessing ceremony, but they're also screaming.
Yeah.
Which is not what happens in Bali. It's the most peaceful place on earth. Every time I've been, like the air is alive with ritual. So I did get to do an amazing blessing ceremony, private, quiet, with a priest on the estate, nobody watching, nobody filming, and it was magical.
And nobody screaming.
Nobody's screaming. No, I would never do that.
I don't know why I thought you ended up doing it.
No one wants to see like a white girl go to Bali to scream. So, honestly, I think two of my best friends would have killed me. What other wellness things have we done this year?
So I interviewed Shadi from Seva, and you had the team from Roar Fitness.
Yeah, Seva is such a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I actually had breakfast with Kimberly there before
the
podcast
lovely
interview. So what did you take away from that conversation with Shadi?
It was a very calming conversation, I will say that. It was just like you're speaking to someone who just calms the mood, which was great. And we were talking about similar things around going back to basics, clean and simple food, nothing too processed. Things don't have to be complicated. They can just be simple and still be really good. And of course, we spoke about yoga and kind of the importance of taking care of your body, which was great advice for people, I think.
Existing today with all our complaints, with all our drama and so on, it took a lot of people
a lot of people to bring us to this life.
I have to say, you have a very calming voice. I'm just feeling very calm at the moment.
It depends. You got to come to my class. Sometimes I'm very up in the yang, you know.
I get that feeling whenever I walk into Seva.
Yeah.
Neutralizing and calming.
Yeah,
yes.
very much so.
When you go down that little path and there's so much greenery.
Yeah, it's very green.
Yeah, it always smells so good as well. But yeah, simplicity and is something that I have really learnt in terms of like food and approach since joining Raw, you know. And this is why I really wanted to bring them onto the podcast.
Yeah.
And I never thought that I would get into strength training.
Yeah.
Or really want to talk about a personal experience. But just, you know, realizing that how food can fuel you and how that is necessary. I mean, I have a good understanding of food, obviously,
of
but
course.
you know, as a chef, I also like to, you know, go crazy and cook all sorts of things. And but when you're on a fitness journey, like actually just having a sort of simple approach, making sure you're getting the right amount of protein, getting the right amount of sleep, enough recovery. You know, that is what I've really learned at Raw, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It was nice to sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
It was weird being in the gym and not working out.
I always kind of look at it in terms of like a 360 approach, really. So like training, nutrition, recovery, and just kind of focus on certain aspects of strength training. So we look at things like, right, is tempo followed, working with supersets and creating that intensity within the hour.
What you mentioned there with like sleep, recovery, nutrition, it's so important. You can't, this is not going to work. I mean, I think you once said to me, like, look, it's 3 hours a week. If you're not doing the other things, you can't expect miracles.
A lot of the time is the one that people don't pay enough attention to is, you know, the quality of your sleep and all the little sort of 1%ers that contribute to how well you're going to show up for the next session.
You know, you just said, it made me think that you were there and it was weird not to work out. But we did a few episodes this season as well on site, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So you went to Roar. You also went to Anantara with Will.
Yes.
I was at Kuya.
Yeah.
Where else
we were at
did
Ziggy Bear.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. So I went with Samantha Wood, Zara, and Laura Coughlin, and it was fantastic. We started with a trip to their farm, which they have a whole organic farm outside of the resort.
Is that where you had the baby goat picture?
Yes, yes. And I was the first one to pick up the baby goat.
Okay.
Yes. Started a trend.
She's so calm. Yeah. Oh, she just did a little sigh. There we go.
You know, they are making 12 to 15 different types of cheese, mostly with goat's milk and then some cow's milk cheese on site. They
Love goat's cheese.
Yeah, and it's really good. They're growing fruit, vegetables, herbs, and it's an abundant garden in the season.
Lovely.
They also have a couple of donkeys.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, guests can book and have this farm experience. I mean, you can go as far as digging and planting something if you want to as well. And then they also have the organic garden on site, which is where we did the podcast interview with their two chefs, which is kind of like the kitchen garden for the chefs. They go in and just pluck some herbs when they need it.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful location. What dream location to do a podcast, actually. You know, it's a tough one doing these wrap-ups because you want to mention everybody and you can't. Otherwise you're going to be here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But one more that I would like to talk about is the one with Chef Wadad from Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
That was also on site. Her beautiful new bistro in Dar Russell Mall.
I love it.
Yeah. Another place I go every week. You know, her sourdough products are fantastic. That manikish with ashta and caramelized pecans is so gorgeous. But I love that you can like see into the bakery when you're eating there. She's there every day, so you can interact with her. Again, it blew up on social media, you know, and I love that response. You know, it's good to see someone you know doing well.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Right, but I think that brings us to the end of the wrap up, and we're off for a summer break from the podcast, not from work and everything. But we'll be back in September.
We will.
Yes.
We'll continue to play a few of our favorite episodes over the next 2 months. But yeah, I hope everyone and you have a lovely summer.
Yeah. I don't know why in my head I was like, did she go and scream in the forest? Like, I don't know what happened.
I think I showed it to you and I said, like, this is what people do.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah.
Maybe that just stuck in my head thinking, Tiffany's going to do this now.